That's good. Sounds super clear.
Oh, cool. All right, we're officially recording it now, so
Okay.
if things go downhill, at least we'll have a backup. But it should be good. All right. 32% CPU usage.
Is there a view count on here? Or is that on
I don't know. I have one on mine.
the... Oh, yeah, it's on here.
Oh, Never Summer. Never Summer is in Colorado. It's, I guess if you know where Rocky Mountain National Park is, it's directly west of there. And in my opinion, you get all of the beauty of Rocky Mountain National Park, but with none of the people there. We were out there for 3 days and saw 6 people, and that was only when we were on the CDT part of it. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because it was like, what, the second day we saw 3 people, and they were all on the Continental Divide Trail. And then the only time we saw anybody else after that, and that was just for a moment. The only time we saw people after that was when we were exiting, and that was Friday? No,
Yeah.
Saturday morning?
Oh, yeah,
No.
Saturday.
No, Saturday. No, one of those days.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we should start it up. All right. Things are still good on this end. Recording. All right. Ready? 2, 2, 3, 2, 1. Day job. Oh, my day job is working at a gear store. So, pretty related to what I enjoy. Alright, so we have video now. Alright, I think we are live.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up the comments there. Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. Long time no see. So, what are we doing?
What are we doing? It's time to start?
Yeah, it's time to start.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, where do we start from here?
Well, that's the live stream. See you next time. It was fun.
Let's start with explaining what this is
Yeah.
and what we want to do with it.
Yeah. So, this is the live stream. Backcountry Banter Live is what we're calling it for now. That could change in the future. Today's live stream is going to be called The Next Adventure. So we're just going to have somewhat of a talk on adventure. It's really hot in here, I should mention. Normally we have to have that AC blasting, but we have these 2 really hot lights pointed right at us, but what can you do? Can't have the AC on, so. Anyways, so this is the live stream. What are we going to do? We're going to try to make it a much more frequent thing going into the future. Possibly weekly, but at least a few times a month. So we'll try to keep up to date, talk about recent trips that we've gone on, talk about things we are doing in as far as gear goes or in life in general. And what else? We're trying to do a format now, so we're going to go through little sections like talking about recent gear that we have tested or made or trips we've been on. Sometimes we'll have a topic of discussion, sometimes we'll just freeball it and talk about hiking.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, we're going to try to make it more frequent. We can't do it all the time, every week, because we will hopefully be out on trips and doing kind of shorter adventures, which will take up our time there. We also I want to get people more involved.
Yeah. So, do you have something?
No. No.
So you guys out there, we're going to be doing this more often. So if you have hikes you're going on that you're excited about, pictures to share, or especially if you're doing any DIY projects and you want to share some photos of them, send them our way, and we'll do a little segment at the end of the live stream showing off what you guys have done, which I'm really looking forward to see what other people make. Because I follow some people on Instagram that are making gear, and there's some cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
And going on cool hikes.
Yeah. So if this could kind of be a platform for us sharing what we're doing, and you're sharing what you're doing, and kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and another part of that is going to be the Q&A section. So we're going to be doing, in every video probably, at least a short 10-minute or so Q&A. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments of this video, and we'll select a few and answer them in the next video. For this video here, I've got a few from Instagram to answer, and maybe we'll do some from the comments as well. It's just, last time it was really hard to keep up with the comments and try to answer them, but we'll do our best.
Yeah.
But in the future, we'll work from last video's comments.
Yeah. So hopefully we can kind of encompass everybody's questions and
Yeah.
all that.
And then we'll be bringing in guest speakers, hiker friends, cool people from around the world that happen to be in Denver, so we can share their stories and get their perspective, so it's not just us two.
Yeah. Get people who have hiked other trails, been on other adventures. It might be kind of time dependent on when people are coming through, but yeah, hopefully we can bring them in and get some different perspectives.
Yeah. So that's the... Sorry, I keep talking over you.
Yeah, that kind of sums up the live stream and what we want to do, where we want to bring it. We can kind of go into who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah. We won't do this section every time, but we just kind of want to let you guys know what we're thinking for the future.
Yeah.
And, yeah, maybe we'll turn this into a podcast. I don't know if that's a thing, if people would want to just listen to it or not, but we talked about it. It might happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that gets into kind of your guys' opinion or your guys' suggestions and what you want to see more of or what you want to hear more of. We want to kind of bring this wherever you guys want it to go and bring in our interests and all of that. So
talk about hiking.
Yeah, we like hiking. So
all right, so introductions. This video, in case people don't know who we are.
Yes. My name is Mihap, or my trail name is Mihap. I think on the screen there you can see my Instagram.
Yeah, we put our
tag.
Instagram handles below,
Yeah.
so if you want to follow us, keep up to date, and that's where we announce the live streams too.
Yeah. Yeah, so my trail name is Mihap. My real name is Josiah. But for this, I'm going by Mihap because that's what I'm known as on trail. Just a little bit about me. I started hiking in 2009 and hiked the AT in 2011. Fell in love with long distance hiking, through hiking, whatever you want to call it. And decided to hike the Pacific Crest Trail in 2013. And then the Continental Divide Trail in 2015, where I met this guy.
Yeah, I have the same story. Started on the AT in 2012, fell in love with it. It kind of ruined my life, and then I just got stuck through hiking and did the PCT 2014, CDT 2015, and now I find it really hard to live a life not hiking on a trail, but that's what we're trying to do.
I think it's both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough introductions.
Yeah.
That was boring.
Well, I mean, it has to be done, I guess. So now we can kind of go into just the more formatted live stream podcast type stuff. Since we've done all the kitchen.
Let's get tea.
Kitchen? No. Yeah,
chatting.
so
Too much chatting, not enough
yeah.
sweating.
So today we are. It's not hot, so because it's way too hot in here as is. But today we're drinking some Meditative Mind white tea, jasmine pearl green tea, and rosebud with petals.
Oh, it's quite
Should be nice and refreshing.
lovely.
Room temperature.
Always pour from high up in order to aerate the tea.
Is that every tea you do that with?
That's every tea I
Yeah.
do it with.
That's what we do.
Okay, we got the tea. So, what's on the list
So
next?
we're gonna start with recent trips. What trips have
Oh,
we
yeah.
been on lately? What trips have you been on lately?
About a few weeks ago, I went up into the Maroon Bells with the Colorado 14ers initiative and with Jimmy, the owner of Farrell, awesome guy that I work for. And we went up and did some trail work, more like trail building, but it was in the Maroon Bells, so it was beautiful all around us. I did a video on the Four Pass Loop a few months, I guess that was half a year ago now, but so if you want to see the scenery, you can check that out, but it's such a cool place. It's just these huge jagged peaks, beautiful snow-capped, high elevation passes, and I was up there doing trail work, and it was really tough. I have never had that much of a tough time on any trail, or pretty much with anything in life. It was a lot of rock work, so there's this huge talus field, and we were going up into the field, finding these like 400-pound boulders, taking four of us, there were only four of us there, and we were rolling them down the hill, putting them in what's called a rock net, so that it's like a big cargo net built for hauling these rocks, and all four of us would lift them, hike them 50 or so feet up the trail, dig a hole, set them in the hole and like finagle them, and then go back up into the talus field, find two capstones, what they call cribs, and stick them on the sides, and do that over and over. Then you have to fill them in with crush, what they call crush, which is essentially just tiny rocks. But the only way you get the tiny rocks is by taking big rocks and a sledgehammer and just smashing them until you get tiny rocks.
Yeah.
It was a learning. I've never really done trail building like that. I've done a little bit of maintenance, but that was tough. I really respect the people out there building trails full time, and I really appreciate it, especially having hiked all of this distance. I feel like I owe a lot more to the trails than I've given. But so it was a taxing trip. I hesitate to call it fun even, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
It was cool.
From what you've told me, it sounds like that was an abnormal volunteer trail maintenance experience. But that is something that I think both of us want to do more of. Give back to the communities, give back to the trails that we've hiked on and used.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll make some videos about some trail maintenance in the future.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like I have a huge karmic debt to pay back,
Yeah.
having hiked all of these trails.
Definitely.
But huge thanks to Minnesota Dad for the donation.
Yeah.
That will definitely go a long way with us. Thanks.
Yeah. Just continuing with trips. It was actually back in April, I believe. I went down. I spent a little over a week down in California. I actually started in New Mexico and went to the Continental Divide Trail kickoff in Silver City, New Mexico. And that was really neat. A friend of mine, Jenny Cloud, as she's known on the trail, organized that event, and she did an amazing job. There were talks about trail, about communities on trail, about all different types of things, all revolving around the Continental Divide Trail. And
Guys,
yeah.
if you haven't been to a trail event, like a CDT event or a PCT or trail days on the AT, you should go to one. It's really fun. If you've never been around through hikers before, it'll be a stark introduction.
Yeah. A lot of these events are they're planned for the communities around the trail, the thru hikers on trail, the thru hikers starting that year, but also the communities that the trail is around. So this one was to bring in people from Silver City, New Mexico, to bring in people from the community and kind of inform them about the trail and about what the Continental Divide Trail Coalition is doing. It was a really fun event. Had a really good time. Spoke on a panel there about thru hiking in general with a few other people, which was a lot of fun. And then from there, I went over to the Pacific Crest Trail, and actually specifically went to San Diego to Scout and Frodo's house to help out. And if anybody who was there, who went through while I was there, is watching, hey, hi. But I got to meet a lot of hikers. I think it was like 200, maybe more people went through while I was there. And if you don't know about Scout and Frodo is a trail angel on the Pacific Crest Trail in San Diego, and they actually pick people up from the airport, drop them off at the trailhead. If there's any time between there, they bring them to their home. They feed them three squirrel meals a day, make sure they're really fed up and fattened before they get on trail. And then every morning at 5, there's like a caravan of vehicles that go out to the trailhead and drop everybody off. It's a really awesome kind of thing they do there for hikers.
They are incredibly generous people.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, I can't even imagine being that generous.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. They're fun to talk to, super interesting.
Yeah. And just a little more context, we actually hiked with Scout and Frodo on the Continental Divide Trail in 2015. And Scout is now on the Appalachian Trail going southbound and should be completing his Triple Crown by this fall.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So if you're looking for really good hiker journals or hiker, what do you call that? Hiker blogs to follow. Scout's blog is amazing. Yeah. Probably one of the best around.
Yeah. He also has a coffee table book out, which is has amazing photography, amazing information and history about the Pacific Crest Trail. Check that out if you're interested.
The pictures are cool too.
Yeah. Really
I like
cool.
pictures.
If you don't want to be on the Pacific Crest Trail now, after you read that book, you'll want to be on the Pacific Crest Trail. Yeah, that's an alarm. And then I spent a few days there helping them out, and then I actually got on trail, and I met a friend of mine that I met on the Appalachian Trail. I actually hiked quite a bit on the Appalachian Trail with a guy named Mayo, who's from England, and he came through Scout and Frodo's. I got to meet him there, and then the next day we actually went out on trail, and I kind of hiked the first 40 miles with him on the the Pacific Crest Trail, which was really cool, getting back on trail, back on the beginning of that trail. And it was a lot different than I remembered it being in 2013. For one thing, there was a lot more water out there. When I went through there, I don't think there was any water at Hauser Creek. Or maybe it was... What's that? Hauser Creek. But this time it was flowing. There was water like every maybe 10 miles, maybe a little more frequent. But yeah, lots of water out there this year. But yeah, that was a really fun seeing all the hikers out there, and yeah, that was a really neat trip.
Huge thanks to Nature Calls Backpacking for sending us a donation and asking where would we like pics of your DIY stuff sent. Let's see. If you're on Instagram, you can send it to my Instagram at BackcountryBanter. If not, I will, in the contact info on my YouTube channel, there's an email. I don't want to just blast it out there, but if you go to my contact page, It'll give you an email. You can just email it straight to me, and I should get it, and we'll feature it.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. I forgot all about that. So what else? Should we skip to our most recent trip?
Yeah.
I guess that's all that's left.
Yep.
So, yesterday? Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday
Whoa,
we got
crazy.
back. Yeah.
We just got back yesterday from a trip into the Never Summer Wilderness. And actually, while we talk about this, I'm going to queue up a slideshow of a few photos. We're going to be doing a video on it, and that should be out within 2 weeks, hopefully. But we got some pretty cool footage, saw some cool stuff. I'm going to queue up the slideshow. Yeah. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, so if you guys aren't familiar with the Never Summer Wilderness, that's it's essentially due west of Rocky Mountain National Park. And it's, if you are on the Continental Divide Trail, you actually come through the Never Summer Wilderness, and you get a lot of the beauty of Rocky Mountain National Park with not a lot of the traffic. Most people are gravitate towards the Rocky Mountain National Park, and that's kind of a weird phenomenon that I've noticed. The areas surrounding the national parks are a lot more infrequently visited, like extremely infrequently visited than the national parks. So if you're looking for more secluded hikes and secluded experiences, maybe just outside of some of the national parks is a good...
Yeah, National Forest is a great way to go.
Yeah.
It's just so much better in my opinion.
Yeah.
So what should we talk about this trip?
How did it come to be? How did we plan it? What did we do?
Yeah, this trip was pretty interesting because being a thru hiker, I feel like makes you a terrible planner. You become extremely good at adapting, but terrible at actually trying to plan something out because it's too much work. So
it's not too much work. It's just like, you know.
It's just a hassle.
Yeah.
No one likes a hassle. But, so we didn't plan this out at all. We sat down a few days before and we were like, hey, we should go hiking. I'm tired of not hiking. And thought about going up into the Indian Peaks, which is pretty close to us in the Front Range of Colorado. But the Indian Peaks actually require a permit, which we didn't have time to get. So we decided, how about, I came up with the idea of, I remembered hiking this incredible ridge on the CDT right before getting into Rocky Mountain National Park. And I really just wanted to go back to that ridge. So I said, hey, how about Never Summer Wilderness? Mihap said, okay, let's go. And we didn't plan it at all. And so
our planning consisted of remembering a trailhead from hiking the Continental Divide Trail, and then that morning going to Farrell and getting a map.
Yeah, the morning we left, we went and got a map.
Yeah.
And actually the area we were hiking was in the very bottom right of the map and cut off about halfway.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know what trails were there.
Yeah. We did download Gaia GPS information, topo maps, before we left. So we did have information. We did have maps of the area. We just didn't know what trails were out there.
Yeah. But in my opinion, that made the trip all the more fun. I think we've gone through the slideshow, so I'm going to take that off. But, boop. Yeah, so I think it made it a lot of fun. We didn't really have a plan. We went out there, we adapted. We had some weather come in, and a few times we had to bail off a ridge due to lightning or due to a storm coming in. But it was really fun.
Yeah, that actually made it a lot more entertaining for me, I guess, because we weren't hiking a long stretch of trail or anything. We were just kind of going out there and exploring the area, and where we went and kind of the pace in which we went there was all kind of dictated by what the weather was like. And you know, if you guys know anything about Colorado, this time of year you get pretty frequent, pretty scheduled rain or thunderstorms around noon.
Every day.
Every day. Yeah. So you kind of have to be a little more aware of what elevation you're on, what the exit routes are for these for some of these ridges, and just kind of be aware of what's happening in the sky. Because even on this trip, we woke up and we're like, "Oh man, the skies are clear, we're good." And then we get up on a ridge, and 11:30 hits, and we start hearing thunder. And we're like, "Oh man, we gotta get out of here." So,
and it can be you generally have a view of the entire surrounding area, but these clouds can come in like 10 minutes. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to be careful. And if you're going to be up on a ridge for a long time, you have to keep that in mind, that you might have to bail off a few times even.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got out there, hiked out to the ridge. Storm came in, we bailed off to a lake for the first night, camped there. Had a little bit of rain throughout the night, and after that, next day we actually tried to follow some of the trails that we found on our map, and it turns out they didn't exist.
Yeah.
But they
partially existed. There were stretches of trail, and then it just disappeared.
It was weird.
Like that seems to be the Continental Divide. Like just in general, all throughout the country, the Continental Divide is littered with trails that are kind of there.
Yeah, they'll be there one mile and then gone the next.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, that's the adventure of it.
Yeah. But
yeah, so we went up to this lake, and then Bowen Mountain. Bowen Mountain was up here, probably 2,000 feet above the lake, and we were trying to, maybe less than that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But we were trying to get up there, and the trail that used to go up there was either gone or we just couldn't find it. So we ended up making a route up to the top and getting probably within 200 feet of the peak and finding out that the ridge just became basically a 1 foot wide gravel walkway that bled off 20,000 or 20,000 feet below. 2,000 feet one way and 2,000 feet the other way. So it was extremely dangerous. And that basically butted up to a wall that you would have to climb to get to the peak.
Yeah.
So we had to...
There were some goats down there, though, that were doing just great.
Actually, I think they were sheep. Bighorn sheep.
Oh, yeah. So they were sheep.
Sheep, goats, it's all the same.
What's the difference?
But yeah, so we had to bail off on actually summiting, and then just ended up hiking that ridge, which it looked like no one had been on. There's no trail up there.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we it was a very eventful 3 days. We got to see bighorn sheep, elk, moose.
A huge herd of elk.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll show up in the video, but I didn't have a zoom lens with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to be able to capture a lot of this stuff in these videos. But sometimes nature is just just that, nature. And
yeah, that's the trip. Then we came back.
Yeah, we came back.
Had some hail, had some moose.
Yeah,
beautiful views,
thunderstorms.
It was good. It felt really good to be back out there. I definitely need to get out more.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Recent trips. What's next? Project updates.
Project updates, yeah.
So updates on what we've been up to.
Yeah.
You want to start?
So I've been making a few packs, trying to really hone in on sewing skills and kind of what I want in a pack, how I want it to function, and all of that. I think in one of the other live streams I showed off one of the earlier prototypes. Pretty simple. Trying to get a little more complex as I go. Like I said, honing sewing skills and just exactly what I want. This back here is the latest version of it. Pretty simple. It's about a 30. The interior volume is 35 liters. Not including the water bottle pockets and mesh front pocket. But yeah, pretty simple. Working on getting some ventilation in the back, some really rudimentary ventilation, just some breather material in here. areas to put hip belts, because this does have a hip belt that I put on there when I'm actually using it for through hiking, or for hiking in general. Just working on shoulder strap pockets and various things. Experimenting with different pockets on the inside or the outside and inside to store things like tarp, wet tarp, what do you call it? Stakes, and just things that you need to put into the pack last. Yeah, and then just trying those out and doing that. Trying to make a durable pack, something that's gonna hold up over long distance, hold up over time, and also something that you can use for a bunch of different activities, not just long distance hiking, but also like throw it around in a canyon and put groceries in it. Whatever you need to do. I really like the idea of having one pack that can kind of act as your day-to-day pack and your pack that you bring out into the backcountry.
And it's just bomb-proof.
Yeah.
We've been experimenting a lot with this material, which is X-Pack, and it's really cool stuff. Actually, and we took our packs on that last trip, so that they'll show up in the video, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
But this X-Pack is just so durable. Like, you can take this pocket and pick up the entire pack by the pocket, and it's tough.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see what can come of this for like a multi-through hike pack, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that both of us have used packs on multiple hikes, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen where they wear out first, or what wears out and how they wear out. And we're trying to use a lot of that information that we've seen and put it into a pack, So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the process of designing and building and kind of improving and experimenting with different things. And I really feel like it's coming along pretty good. I'm really happy with this and excited for the next iteration. So
yeah.
It's
if you can't see, we're surrounded by packs and prototypes of packs behind us.
Yeah.
We've been working a lot on all sorts of R&D and other stuff lately too. It's been cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that I think we want to kind of show more of, the actual R&D, the designing, the building, those processes in which we're developing. We want to try and show them to you guys.
So if you guys are interested, let us know and actually seeing that. I don't know if anyone wants to watch a pack being built or know the theories behind it or whatever, but it's there if you want to see it.
Yeah, let us know.
So,
what about you? What projects do you have going on?
Whoa, outdoor product design and development. I didn't know that was a major, but that sounds like something I should do. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Cool. What else? I have my one pack iteration over there behind Mehap, and I definitely have a lot of ideas and some blueprints for new packs. I haven't been working on that lately. I've been doing a lot of 3D printing, 3D modeling, stuff like that. So I've been more focused there lately, but I'm coming back to packs soon. But, let's see. Here's something, wasn't sure if I should show this or not, but why not? Here's something I've been working on lately, and this is essentially just a backcountry tripod. So, every time I'm in the backcountry, I find myself needing a tripod for either a time lapse or some sort of stable shot. And I never want to carry a heavy one with me. The GorillaPod works decently, but they're pretty heavy. So one thing I thought of is I always have my stakes with me, and I'm always using shepherd hook. Make sure this shows up here. So I have these titanium shepherd's hook. I think they're Vargo, but they're pretty generic. Everyone carries these on trail pretty much. But I figured I'd try to make a tripod for them so I could actually take stable shots without having to lug in a tripod, and instead just a little device. So I printed up this design, and essentially what it does is it lets you plug in your stakes into the sockets like that, and it gives you a tripod. So you can actually take the camera, screw it in, and you've got a tripod, and this is extremely sturdy. There's no way it's going to break under the weight of any camera.
Not any camera.
Any
There's
camera
really
ever.
heavy cameras out there.
Any camera you would take backpacking. This one is pushing that boundary already. But so it's got the high and stable feature there, but if you want to go super stable, you can actually unplug these and plug them into these side holes here. And now you have a really wide base, never going to tip, super stable tripod for time lapses, anything like that. So that was kind of the general plan there. Just a little 3D printed adapter, and I've been pretty impressed with how well it's held up. I'm still doing some more testing to see if this will hold up long term under like heavy UV exposure and heavy sun. This is printed on a PLA plastic, but I think final product I'll probably print it on ABS plastic so it's a little more UV resistant, because I've heard PLA can break down over time. But one other cool thing about this, and something I'm hoping to do soon, is actually turn it into a lantern. So I put some holes in the top as well, so you can plug in your stakes, all 6 of them, and you get this kind of crazy design. You can also plug them in down here. But what I'm hoping to do is actually connect all of these vertices with a piece of fabric, like a white fabric, and turn this into a lantern that you can stick your headlamp in and have like a big lantern for camping. We'll see how that works out. I haven't really tested that much yet, but that's the idea. And all of that, I think this thing weighs about 0.5 ounces or something like that. So, just something I've been working on. Yeah. Woo.
Alright.
Kind of like a dick pic. Stick pics are cool. I still use mine all the time.
Yeah.
What else, gear-wise? I think that's all we have custom-wise.
Yeah, we're working on a few, like, next iteration of packs and various things, but...
Oh, I've been working with wood filament on the printer lately, which is essentially plastic filled with particles of wood, and it's really cool. I'll give you a glimpse of some of the... I can't see the camera, it's not live. So this is a glimpse of something I've been working on. I've been doing a lot of 3D modeling and learning how to do that, and this is part of that. But this is the wood filament. It's really cool. It prints super smooth. And what's really cool about it is you can actually sand it, and apparently you can stain it too. So people are making all sorts of cool stuff with it. And it smells really good when you print with it. It smells like burning wood, which sounds bad, but it's good. So yeah, I'm excited to see what I can do with that. Not sure. I kind of want to do a mountain out of wood next. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What else?
Gear. We've pretty much gone through all the gear updates or project updates.
Yeah.
Is there any questions about that? Come up.
Yeah. No. You can sand it. Yep. Stash box. What else? How about do you have any pieces of gear that we didn't make but that you want to talk about? I'll start.
Yeah.
So I've been using this Black Diamond Iota headlamp lately, and I've been really liking it. It's lightweight. I don't have a listed weight on it. I forget what it is, but it's no more than 2 ounces, I think. But it's a tiny rechargeable headlamp. It doesn't have a red light, which kind of sucks, but I've found that it's more than bright enough for night hiking, and it can get really dim if you want to read in your tent or something and to not disturb other people. But I've been really liking it. I'm going to do some more testing before I put out a review or something on it, but I'm a fan so far. just because it's so small and light and rechargeable. That's my number one thing with headlamps.
Yeah. For me, I don't think I'd get it because it doesn't have a red light. I really like red lights.
Me too.
They're really handy. If you don't have a headlamp with a red light on it, you should probably get one.
Yeah. That's a good point. What else? Oh, I got the chance to try a NeoAir short. This is actually Mehap's pad, but when I was on the 14er Initiative trail work trip, a marmot, I think it was a marmot, chewed a hole right across the valve on my NeoAir, so it ruined it. I tried to patch it, and it held for one night, but it broke right after that. So I got to try the short NeoAir, which as you can see is quite short, but it's Mehap's. I liked it. It's 7 ounces, I think, which is incredible, but I don't think I would use one full time. It's just not quite wide enough. I'm a side sleeper, so my knees are always just barely on my NeoAir as is, and this one is actually a little narrower, so my knees are always just pulling off, which slides my whole bottom half off. It works. It was comfortable enough, but I think full time I'm going to go with a regular NeoAir instead of a short.
Yeah. Yeah, I gravitate to a fuller size NeoAir as well, but for like fast and light trips, I would definitely do the shorter. It is more comfortable than nothing, and more comfortable than a than a foam pad, in my opinion. Even though it is short, but yeah.
Yeah. That's all the gear I got.
Yeah. So yeah. Next we can move into
the main topic.
The next adventure.
We need like a segue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Main topic. Adventure. The next adventure.
Yeah. So, you want to start?
Yeah, how should we start? Adventure? Like, define what we feel is adventure, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the main topic of this podcast, or live stream, whatever we're doing, is the next adventure, and really just adventure in general.
Yeah.
So maybe let's start by defining how we view adventure. Hey, thanks, John. So adventure. What is adventure to me? I guess... I see adventure as facing the unknown. I think, like, at its very core, that's what adventure is. Like, most people, I think, don't generally like to deal with this great unknown or the chaos of unknown and what that may bring. But I think people that enjoy adventure enjoy dipping into that unknown or dipping into that chaos and kind of seeing what happens and experimenting with it, seeing, oh, if I go out in the rain and I only have this 6-ounce rain jacket, do I get too cold, or is that good for me? That's just one weird example. I don't know why I thought of that.
I don't know why you went there,
but yeah, it's to me, adventure at its core is embracing the unknown or embracing chaos and knowing that with the skills or with the knowledge you have, you can endure it or possibly enjoy it and see what comes of it.
Yeah. I think for me, it encompasses a lot of different things. The unknown, not knowing if you're actually going to accomplish what you set out to do or what you want to do, and also like pushing yourself, whether it be physically or mentally, pushing you and your skill sets. Like adventure has a lot of ways of, I don't know. You can make adventure whatever you want, but for me, I like it to push myself, the way I view something or the way I think about something.
I think that's core to adventure too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pushing yourself and learning.
Yeah. learning from other people, other experiences. Yeah. And I think that both of us, our first kind of first big adventure in life was the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
It was definitely for me.
I'd always had little glimpses of it, but that was the first time I was like, adventure. I'm taking this unknown on and taking a risk.
Like, this is a journey that I'm going to go on, and there's going to be challenges throughout it, and it's such a large, abstract goal that, not abstract goal, but such a massive undertaking that there are going to be so many unknowns throughout it. There's going to be so many points when you have to adapt or change your plans. And like kind of running at that head on and deciding to actually do that was a big deal in my life. You know?
Yeah, I was a very play it safe kind of person before the
Me
AT,
too.
and then I think by embracing that unknown, it made me much more willing to do it more.
Yeah.
And then I kind of became addicted to it.
Yeah, and I think that once you make that first big leap of unknown, of adventure, of seeking that out, you start to realize that, all these unknowns, all these things that I was afraid of are either not a threat or not something to be feared, or something that you can deal with, something that you personally can adapt to or take on. You know, like there's always that fear of the unknown, and as soon as you know it, it's not unknown anymore.
Right.
You know?
But then there's that next unknown.
Yeah.
So it keeps you coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what kept me going back to long distance hiking. Is there was still something more. There was still something that I didn't know, that I wanted to push my skill set, wanted to push myself in. If each trail was the same, then there wouldn't be that adventure, there wouldn't be that unknown. So I may not have done it.
I'm really wondering, I have this drive to re-hike all of the trails, but the AT lately, but I'm wondering if that adventure would be there.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a lot more, like, unknown is definitely not the only thing, the only aspect of adventure, the only aspect of that. And I think re-hiking a trail would give you the ability to kind of add layers of memories, layers of experiences on top of a trail, on top of a platform that you've already experienced. And that, adding those experiences and those memories and those interactions with other people and those weather patterns throughout, like, all that can add to an experience that is another unknown or another way to push yourself, push, you know. So I don't think re-hiking or redoing something that you've already done is less, or has to be less adventurous than the first time. But it's different. It's definitely different.
Yeah, I see that. So Ryan made a comment, the only way to improve is to push yourself no matter what aspect of life you may be attempting to improve in.
Exactly.
I think that, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
You always have to reach past that boundary.
Yeah.
Because I think most people just get comfortable and they don't push that boundary anymore, and that's when you start to stagnate.
Yeah.
And you just become boring.
Yeah.
But that doesn't have to be adventure.
It doesn't make you boring. It's just, you know, it all depends on what you want in life.
Just reach for it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just kind of going off on a different direction here. For me, there's a lot of people in my life that would, if they knew or if they know or if they're watching me do a live stream where I'm talking about something to people, to other in public speaking, I guess, they would be kind of blown away, because that is not me. This is not who I like. I don't do this. I'm really shy. And when I do it, I obviously sweat a lot. So, no.
Embracing the unknown.
Yeah, but like that aspect of pushing yourself, of doing something that makes you uncomfortable, of doing something that you don't know the outcome. That's, yeah, I enjoy that when I'm in, yeah, when I'm in control of it, really. But yeah,
but sometimes loss of control is a huge part of it.
Yeah, yeah, and being willing to take that head on, that loss of control.
Yeah.
So
something I was just thinking, if you guys are psyched about some adventure you're doing, it'd be cool if you sent like a 10-second video clip summing it up or something.
Yeah.
And then we could just put it on the live stream and show other people.
Yeah.
In addition to the DIY photos and stuff like that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and maybe you can express why this is adventurous for you, why it's, why you're, what element it's pushing for you, or something like that.
Yeah. It'd have to be fairly short,
Yeah.
enough that we can play it, but it'd be fun.
Just talk really, really fast.
So I think one cool thing about people that are into adventure is that they kind of feed off each other and get inspired by things that other people are doing.
Yeah.
No matter what realm it's in.
Yeah.
It just happens that we're in the through hiking realm, but
Yeah.
any sort of adventure.
Yeah, I think that I've talked with friends and people I've met along the way on these trips, and they've talked about different activities or different skills that they have that I don't know. I've never done that. And it kind of gets me amped to go and try it, or go and try something new that I've been wanting to do. So we definitely feed off of each other.
Yeah. So send them in.
Yeah.
02134. You remember
yeah, zoom. Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
There should be an adult Zoom.
We should make an adult Zoom.
That would be really fun.
Yeah. Do you guys know what Zoom is? Are we dating ourselves, either too young or too old here?
All right, let's move on. What's next?
Yes. So
next adventure. Oh, so yeah, one thing we kind of wanted to do with.
Well, so how has adventure changed? How has your view of adventure changed over the years? And like like in your life, where have you tried to push yourself? Kind of maybe outside of hiking, outside of through hiking.
I feel like after through hiking, I just kept craving that same type of adventure and kept fulfilling that.
Yeah.
But now recently, I think I've tried to branch out. Climbing has been a new adventure for me lately. And that's a whole new realm. I mean, that's learning all sorts of new techniques and more techie type stuff as far as climbing goes, like ropes and knots and all of that.
Yeah.
Proper technique. So that's been a cool adventure for me. I think that's changed my concept that, oh, you have to go on a thru hike to have this grand adventure. I think you can have these little doses of high adventure and satisfy that.
Yeah, well, that just goes back into the unknown. Like, what do you like? I think for both of us, long distance hiking is somewhat more normal than it used to be. We're like, there's definitely way more to learn from it, and I definitely love through hiking, long distance hiking. But there over time with anything, the amount of unknown gets reduced because you're learning from it. But going on these shorter trips, like shorter, climbing trips or skiing, anything that you don't know that you want to learn.
Yeah, high routes.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about later.
Yeah. For me, I think that one thing that going back to public speaking, that's something that I've been wanting to really improve in my life. And something that actually kind of scares me. Like it does with everybody, I think, to some extent. But so I've been trying to put myself out there and do more public speaking, do more social type things, and not social type things, but like talking, being on a panel at the Continental Divide Trail kickoff. Like in the past, I would have never done that, but yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, I really thought of that.
So should we delve into the next adventure?
Sure. Yeah.
So one of the reasons not the reason we did this live stream, but one of the things we wanted to talk about was our next adventure, kind of what we're doing. And we've kind of touched on it a bit already, but it's pretty much going to be sharing more of what we're doing with you guys. And so that could be whether we're making gear, we're going to try to get out a lot more, go on a lot more backpacking trips,
Yep.
do some fun stuff like some high routes where we're pushing boundaries there, maybe start integrating other forms of adventure, and most of all, sharing all of that in video format, what pictures on.
Yeah. I think that for me, going into this, that like adventure comes from or is making videos, editing, doing shorter routes but more technical routes, more things that are going to push skill sets, and also doing that while sharing that experience in new ways.
Yeah. And then using those experiences to push what we're doing here, making gear.
Yeah. And also striking this balance between going out, doing hikes, doing routes, going climbing, whatever it may be, and coming back and putting all that experience and information into gear and design, and kind of pushing that more too.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think overall, what we want to do in the future is create more content, and
hopefully, see where that goes.
Yeah.
We have plans on the horizon, but no name for them yet.
Yeah. One of the next, so the Never Summer video should be coming out in 2 weeks or so.
2 weeks.
But hopefully that's a kickoff of more regular content. But one of the trips that we're planning in the future, in the not too distant future, is actually the Wind River High Route. And that's something that I've been wanting to do a lot, do for a long time. Pretty much ever since I went into the Wind River mountain range for the first time.
Ricardo guessed the Sierra High Route.
Oh,
it's close.
Yeah, it's close, but
Wind River.
A little more east.
It's in Wyoming.
West.
If anyone doesn't know where that is.
Yeah.
Wind River. We went through it on the CDT, and that was some of my favorite mountains I've ever been through. Just stunningly tall, like overwhelmingly big.
Yeah.
And it seems like as you climb up into them, they get bigger and bigger.
Yes.
It's weird. It's cool.
Yeah, beautiful. Like, I don't know. I feel like as soon as I entered the winds, they very quickly became one of my favorite mountain ranges. And the Continental Divide Trail goes through there. It stays a little bit lower than the high route. But through some of the passes, the high routes and the CDT kind of intersect. And it's funny because some of them are the high route, you're descending down into the pass, and the CDT, you're coming up through the pass. So it's kind of funny how they kind of intertwine and are generally different experiences. And we're actually going to be doing it during the solar eclipse, which is happening on August 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be cool. That's
You said, and yeah.
What?
That's just something that I'm really excited about.
Oh yeah.
Like these eclipse, these lunar eclipses, right? Is that right?
I don't know.
But like these don't happen that often, and I feel like if we have an opportunity to see one, to experience one, we should do it in the backcountry.
Yeah.
If
on
we
a
can.
high route. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. So.
And the cool thing is the winds are. If you've ever seen the map of the optimal viewing zone for the eclipse, the winds are like right in the prime spot. There's a little strip that runs west to east across the U.S. and the winds sit right in the middle of it, which is cool.
Yeah.
So that should be a total eclipse.
Yeah.
Of the heart.
Of the heart. Yeah. But yeah, and in between now and then, we're gonna be working on gear.
Yeah, I'll have to look into how to shoot an eclipse on video. That could be tough, or at least take some pictures. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
Even
That's
if
outside of my skill set right now.
even if we just get the surrounding area, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just to see everything go dark. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty neat.
We should do a time lapse of the eclipse, like just looking at the scenery as it darkens.
Yeah.
And then hopefully of the actual eclipse.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oregon, that'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of Oregon is just being bombarded by people during that time period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are whole towns that are gonna double or triple in population for that one day.
Oh, wow.
and Oregon has actually developed more campsites and different things specifically for this event. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That'd be interesting.
yeah.
What's the time? You remember the timeline on it? Like, this is the 60 years.
I should have done more
since it's
research
been-
for this.
Yeah.
I don't know offhand.
It's impressive, whatever it is. It's not something that happens more than once a lifetime. I know that, if not less than that. But, anyways, keep past the tea.
Oh yeah.
Why, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Should we move on to Q&A?
Yeah. Let's answer some questions.
All right. So I've got some questions to be
that's
answered.
a good idea. The 360 degree camera for that. That might be really interesting.
Oh, 360 on the eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Because you could pan up to the eclipse and down to the surroundings. It's a good idea. All right, first question here. Gotta find the video. All right, so on Instagram, we put up a video announcing this live stream and asking if anyone had questions. So to kick off the Q&A section of the live stream, we will start with those questions, and then after that, we'll get into some in the comments. We'll try to keep it somewhat restrained because we're running high on time here, but that's okay. So first question, what rate did your hiking form deteriorate after a long through hike, and how quickly have you regained it on trips?
It's a very good question for now because we just got back from Never Summer.
Yeah.
Which I think we both commented on that at that time.
So after a through hike, how quickly do your trail legs deteriorate, and do they come back on a backpacking trip? To sum it up.
For me, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for how, the timeline in which it deteriorates. I remember back on the few times I've gone off of a through hike, and I remember feeling quite a ways out, wow, I'm still pretty strong. It's fairly gradual, but it all depends on how much activity you're doing in the meantime.
I think there's two parts to it. I think there's the aerobic part, how well you get back into the routine of hiking all the time, and for me that deteriorates probably within a month and a half, maybe. Yeah. So after a month and a half, when I get back out on trail, suddenly I'm winded all the time, and I'm breathing heavily. But I think the other part is your ligaments and your muscles, and for me, those have stuck around with me a lot longer. I find 4 months, 5 months after a through hike, I can still get back out on trail and crush miles with no issue.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know this for sure, but it feels like my ligaments really strengthen over that long period of time, and they don't deteriorate that fast.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. The ligaments, the actual, I don't know, the ligaments actually keep the strength more or longer. I feel like the endurance is something that it gets reduced over time. But one thing that I notice when I am off of a thru hike for a while, I think a few of the things that first come, I start feeling right away, are my right knee starts giving me trouble, which is something that happens in the beginning of a thru hike. That's just a process. It's something you have to work through in the beginning of every thru hike, and that's the first thing that kind of comes up, that creeps up after a thru hike.
Yeah.
Because after, let's say after 300 miles, 400 miles, that starts to go away. And then it's not an issue at all until after a thru hike, once I've not been exercising as much.
Seems like most people have some sort of issue or hurdle that they have to get over as they start a thru hike.
Yeah.
I definitely do with my ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is my right ankle. I on this last trip, I turned it a few times, and that's something that towards the middle end of a thru hike, that doesn't happen. It strengthens. It's pretty solid after that, but it is one of those things that I notice that comes back. But my left ankle's always great. So.
Okay, next question. On a long hike, do you have any way of overcoming bad days or low morale, or do you just keep going and know it'll get better?
I think that keep hiking and keep going and it'll get better is a mentality, is a kind of a, not a rule, but something that every long distance hiker kind of lives by a little bit.
You almost have to be that way.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise you just get off trail.
Yeah. And there is something that I think long distance hikers tell each other is like, if you feel bad now, if you more like mentally, not morally,
it's a different subject.
But mentally, if you're feeling down, if you feel like you want to get off trail, you want to go back home, you're homesick, whatever it is, give it a week. Keep on hiking, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna feel fine. You're gonna feel like you love being out there. Like,
That's best advice someone ever gave me was on the AT, Bam Bam. And he was like, if you're feeling down, if you want to get off trail, give it 3 days.
Yeah.
And you just keep hiking through those 3 days and see how you feel at the end.
Yeah.
And inevitably the rain or whatever it is that's got you down passes, and it's sunny and you're up on a ridge and you're like, yeah, I should be out here.
Yeah. But if you wait those 3 days or 5 days or whatever it is and you get into town and you talk to your friends and your family and you feel like you want to get off trail, that might be a good indication that you should get off trail. Maybe not. It's all personal.
I don't know. I personally, on trail, I've had maybe 3 days per trail where I was like, I'm not feeling this. Maybe I should not be doing this.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think that throughout all 3 trails, I've had times when I've been like down or like I'm like, I don't really want to be here, right? Like, I want to be in town, or I'm looking forward to town more, or I don't want it to rain anymore. But it very rarely gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to be on trail. Like, this is bad enough that I don't want to be here. It's more like, I'd much rather be somewhere, like, in a different situation right now, but I don't want to be kicked off trail.
Yeah.
There was one time on the CDT when I definitely was, like, questioning whether I should be on trail. And that was up in East Glacier. But that wasn't trail conditions. That was all mental.
It's almost always mental at that point.
I mean, when you've already hiked through crazy thunderstorms and snow and all of this stuff, and you've endured through all of that, what's going to make you doubt being on trail is always mental.
Yeah.
So, and that could be external. That could be stuff that's going on trail, stuff that you're thinking through in your head. Externally, like stuff off trail that's happening within friends' lives, families' lives. Yeah. I think that's in general. That's a big reason why people get off trail is family.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which is a pretty good reason. Depending on what it is, it's a good reason to get off trail.
Yeah,
family is important.
So to sum it up, you just kind of deal with it. Mostly deal with it. All right. Let's see. What is your approach to hitting high mileages? Slow, long hours, or increasing your pace?
I think the biggest hindrance to long miles would be brakes, and just reducing the amount of breaks you take. I think one thing that very early on the Appalachian Trail, and something that a tool or a system that I used to push myself a little bit more and hike longer and longer for a longer period of times. And I think that we've talked about this before, and this is something that you might do as well, is, you're hiking along and you feel like either endurance-wise or whatever it may be, you're like, I need to stop. I need to take a break. Pick something up the trail. Pick a landmark, whether it be something on your map. Say, oh man, when I get to this bend, or when I get to this view, or when I get to this trailhead, I'll stop. But make sure make it longer than what you think you might be able to reach, and then get there. And when you get there, reevaluate, check in, make sure, if you're still feeling that bad, pick something half that distance and get to that point. And then when you get to that point, check in with yourself. If you feel better than you did before, pick something a little bit longer, like 3/4 of the original length, and get to that point. And then if you're feeling worse, you can just half that distance more and more until you're like, okay, yeah, I'm only doing a foot now. And then stop,
Yeah.
Always, and make sure you hit those goals. Because if you don't hit those goals, then
you're going nowhere.
Well, you're just stopping. I don't know.
I always do this thing called don't stop to the top, till
Yeah.
the top. And it's essentially just start up a mountain and don't stop until you get to the top.
Yeah.
And then just take a breather. And by that time, as soon as you get breathing and regain your composure, you're ready to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a few games. There's a few games that I play throughout. And I think that the first thing I just explained, that was more like getting up to that higher mileage. Once you get to a certain point, a certain endurance, you just do that naturally. You just hike, and then you're like, oh shoot, I need a snack. And then you either criticize yourself for not putting a snack in your hip belt pocket so you can access it, and then you're like, damn, I need to stop now. Or you have done that, and you just keep on going. But there's a few games that I play. One is Don't Stop Till the Top, and the other one is
The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. Yeah, we actually fight each other and take each other's food. One of them is if I see someone up the trail, my goal is always to pass them. And I know that's not for everybody, but that forces you to hike faster, to hike quicker, to push yourself a little bit more. And especially if you're playing both those games at the same time. Don't stop to the top and pass everybody until you get to the top.
Sounds like a death march.
It might sound like a death march, and you don't need to do it all the time, but for me, that's just something that I do to push myself even more and push my endurance, and gain that ability to just go and not stop. And go faster and faster,
Yeah.
If your goal is to get the most amount of miles in a day, then, those are the tools I use.
Yeah. Yeah, to sum up the question, most of the distance hiking comes from hiking for a long period of time. It's not about hiking fast. Most people average around 3 miles an hour on a through hike constantly. So it's not about pushing that to 4. It's more about hiking for a few extra hours.
Yeah.
Getting up early with the sun, not really taking any breaks until lunch, not really taking any breaks until dinner, and maybe hiking into the night.
Yeah.
That's where the distance comes from.
Yeah, day to day, what I like to do is, wake up with the sun, and maybe sleep in a little bit, depending on how your night went. And then breaking camp as fast as possible, getting breakfast, and I like to put my breakfast in my hip belt pockets and ready for hiking. I also keep my toothbrush and toothpaste in my hip belt pocket all the time, so that I don't have to brush my teeth in camp. I can do it on the trail. Because for me, in the morning, if I'm trying to make miles, getting out of camp is the key, you know, as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then I have a mid-morning break, which is just a short break just to grab some snacks and refill my hip belt pockets, because you always need food, you know. And then lunch is a pretty big break throughout the day, and then a mid-evening snack or mid-evening break, and then dinner. And you just stop for dinner, have that be a larger break as well, and then you have that additional calories to get you through the evening and into the night if you're going to do some night hiking. So, yeah.
All right. Final Instagram question, and we'll make it fast so we can get to a few comments. What's the next gear item you're going to make?
You start this one.
Oh, okay. So I'm working on a lot of 3D things, but my next actual piece of gear is going to be refining my tarp. I've got plans for a backpack in the works, but I really want to. I love what my tarp has allowed me to do, but there's a few little modifications I'm going to make, so that's my next goal. What about you?
For me, it's more iterations on packs, more prototyping packs. This week I hope to get a pack out. I have the plans for that right here on the table, ready to go. So I think tomorrow that's what I'm going to be starting on.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have questions, put them in the comments now, and we'll answer them in the Q&A.
Yeah.
That might take a few seconds for those to queue up.
What was it?
We'll spend 10 minutes answering whatever questions we can that pop up. After Q&A, what are we doing?
We got that. Yeah, just upcoming trips and upcoming videos.
So first question. So far, is X-Pack your favorite material to use for a backpack?
I really like working with it. It's really a tough material, and for the performance, it seems like it's really light. In the packs I'm making, I'm using both. I think it's XV07 and XV21. If you're familiar with those two, those are just different types of X-Pack, different denier.
Durability,
outer
essentially.
layer. Yeah. So, yeah, I really like X-Pack.
Me too. It's my favorite right now.
Yeah.
I don't see anything else around that I would prefer more.
Yeah.
Cordura's, it's cool, but I don't prefer it.
Yeah.
It's too thick and heavy.
Yeah, and the cool thing, one of the cool aspects of X-Pack is it's waterproof. The material itself is. So that's a cool feature to have on your fabric, at least.
Yeah.
To make the whole pack waterproof would be a lot more work.
Yeah, you have to tape seams.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. It's a good one. Did Mihap use the ohm on the PCT? If so, how did it work with the bear can?
I did use the ohm 2.0 on the AT. It's actually right back here.
PCT.
PCT, sorry. Actually, I used it on the PCT and CDT. So this one pack has got me through, I don't know, how many miles is that? Like 7,000 miles or something like that?
It's a good pack.
How many miles? No, 6,000 or something like that. Yeah, it's a super good pack. I would highly recommend it. And yes, I did use it with a bear canister. And I don't think that ULA recommends it with a bear canister because it is a narrower pack than the circuit. And it being a narrower pack, the bear canister takes up most of the kind of width of the pack. But what I did was I think I took my clothes. It's been a while since I've used it with a bear canister. But what I did was I took clothes or different smaller items and shifted the bear canister over to one side. And then on that other side, pieced in pieces of gear, clothes, anything that was small enough to fit in there. And then as the food in the bear canister was reduced through time, I would shift certain things, mainly cook kit and other things that I didn't want to, that could go in with the food, would go into the bear canister.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a constant shifting of gear around. But the bear canister sat off to the side, and the curvature of the bear canister kind of lined up really, really well with my spine. So it didn't bulge out oddly or anything. I also did have a foam pad that I put in there to kind of reduce some of the hard impact of the bear canister in the Ohm 2.0. So yeah.
Fun fact, I got to use a bear canister in my pack when I was up in the Maroon Bells, and it held a bear canister. It wasn't the most comfortable, but it worked.
Yeah. I think a lot of pack manufacturers and their recommendations for bear canisters are all dependent on what is the most comfortable to put into that. And so that's why Ohm or ULA doesn't recommend the Ohm with a bear canister.
Yeah.
Just because it's not it's not like as comfortable as it could be.
It's not ideal.
Yeah. But
it distorts
works.
the pack a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Let's rapid fire. Frame or no frame?
For through hiking, no frame or minimal frame?
I think that's my answer. Is minimal frame. I don't think a frame has to be like a steel support like you would find in an Osprey or something like that, or a Gregory.
Yeah.
It can be just a lightweight aluminum stay. It can be a foam.
Yeah.
I've found a foam frame sheet to be extremely supportive for loads.
And with something that I've been kind of experimenting with and seeing with the packs that I've been making, are a narrower pack actually allows you to pack it in a way that gives it more structure than a wider pack would give you. So a slightly narrower pack allows you to actually piece these items in and kind of compress it and give it that structure that you would normally get from a frame just with the actual shape of the pack, which is pretty neat. And from my experience, that seems to be adequate enough for that. I did have the Ohm 2.0, if you're not familiar with it, does have a carbon fiber kind of tube type of frame, but it's very minimal. Yeah.
That's my opinion, is minimal frame. That's all you need, even if that's a foam frame sheet or just two little support rods.
Yeah. And, I mean, it depends on what your weight is as well.
Yeah.
If you're going pretty light, you might not need that.
Yeah. I mean, we're assuming like a typical through hiking load, probably 20 to 25 pounds, fully loaded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, next one. How do you keep rainwater from flowing under your tarp and getting your sleeping bag wet, whether it's running downhill or pooling on a flat area or depression?
I think the first thing is site selection.
Yeah, biggest thing.
Yeah.
Choose a site where water is not going to be flowing through, where it's not going to collect water in a basin or something like that.
Like if you see a really flat area but it's in like a dip and it's going to rain, probably not going to want to put it there.
Yeah. Second thing, pitch under a tree.
Yep.
So get that foliage above you. It sheds the rain off and kind of pushes it away from you.
It aids in the abilities of the tarp to shed water.
Yeah.
Reduces the amount of water on the tarp, which is one thing. But you can't do that every time.
Yeah.
If you are going to be sleeping through a big rainstorm or something, pitching the tarp lower to the ground and widening the pitch is key to that.
So if you have an A-frame pitched like that, you only get this amount of coverage. But if you pitch it really flat, you get a large area of coverage. So rain coming at an angle isn't going to be able to make it close enough to you to actually splash you.
Yeah. And so I used a tarp tent rainbow. Wait, is it? A tarp tent rainbow on the AT. And that has a bathtub floor and everything. And there were times on that trail when I got flooded, or like there was water flowing underneath my tent. But it wasn't that bad because I had the bathtub floor. Once I switched to a tarp, I don't think I've had any issue with water flowing through through it. That might just be luck That might be because I haven't used a tarp on the AT.
Site selection. Yeah, AT is prone to collecting water.
But yeah, that's a good point because I am more aware of site selection now that I'm using a tarp.
Yeah, that's the number one thing by far. And just waterproof ground sheet. And if it's really cranking down on the rain, I roll the edges up so if water does come by, it doesn't flow over, it'll go under.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, they're coming fast. Let's do 2 more questions. As I've gotten older, I need to start earlier and hike longer all day, and it was difficult to maintain energy levels all day. Do you guys find that your energy peaks at a certain time of the day?
For me, one thing that I notice all the time when I go out, not on a thru hike, just on a few day trip or something, is my eating habits here in, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Normal life. Are completely different than my eating habits during a thru hike. So when I go on a few day trip, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be able to go and get right back into it. But my eating habits need to adjust, and I need to give time for that. Yeah. That's usually my indication, or my range of energy level is just how much I'm eating and what I've eaten and how much I'm able to eat. Yeah, that's what dictates my energy level the most.
Similar for me. I find that it takes me a few days for my eating to adjust to where it should be, so that I have that sustained energy. And I just snack throughout the day. Constantly eat food. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Because I do notice if I stop eating and I just keep powering through, I'll bonk and I'll just stop and I'll hit a wall. Yeah. So you just got to keep eating.
Yeah. And that's why I always put food in my hip pockets. Yeah. Because I'm just eating all the time.
But that said, I do notice that I'm much more efficient in the morning. Probably because I'm not as sore. I don't know.
I think I'm the most efficient after dinner, actually.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Because the day's getting cooler.
Oh, yeah.
And I've just eaten probably the biggest meal of the day. Definitely the most salt intake of the day. Because I'm usually eating ramen. But like after that meal, I'm just ready to go. And I can go for quite a bit longer after that, after dinner.
All right, final question. Let's see, we've done that before. We'll have to make it snappy. Hip belt or no hip belt?
I prefer a hip belt. I think the functionality of a hip belt outweighs the I don't know, the lack of a hip belt. Does that make any sense? No. I like the functionality of having pockets on the hip belt. That's become a kind of a key part of how I operate during the day. Yeah. If there was another way to get that accessibility, I still probably wouldn't get rid of a hip belt. Yeah. It helps. Even if you don't have a frame sheet or a frame, it does help to alleviate some of that weight off your shoulders. And I just don't want to hurt my back.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm a fan of hip belts. I've used that pack without a hip belt and with a decent load, and it works fine. And with a light, like an ultralight load, you really don't feel it that badly on your shoulders. But why not just have the extra few ounces with the hip belt and put the load onto your hips where it should be?
Yeah, and then you have that additional functionality of having those pockets there too. Yeah, if you enjoy it.
I see the appeal of both. Yeah, but I'm a hip belt guy.
Yeah, and when you're in the dead of the desert, 100-degree weather, and you're carrying, you're not carrying that much. You're like, oh man, it would be really nice to not have this hip belt. But then you're carrying not 2 gallons, but you're carrying like 6 liters of water, and you're like, holy, I really would like that hip belt.
Yeah, it's more versatile.
Yeah, you go through so many ranges of carrying capacity or carrying weight on a thru hike that you can't really control that much. I prefer to have a hip belt.
Yeah. All right, let's cut it short because we've been going for a while now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so that's the end of Q&A, but if you have more questions, leave them in the comments of this video when it's posted, and maybe we'll answer them in the next Q&A on the next live stream.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, we've
got a little schedule here.
Upcoming trips.
Oh yeah, so upcoming trips. I'm going to Outdoor Retailer, which is OR, the big outdoor gear show in Salt Lake City.
Soon to be in Denver. Actually.
Yeah, soon to be in Denver, which is exciting because that's where we are. But yeah, that'll be Tuesday. I'm looking at my watch like it's telling me something, but it's not. Yeah, so I'm heading out to Salt Lake on Tuesday to go to OR. I'm probably going to try to cover it more. I went last year and this winter as well, but I didn't do a lot of coverage from it. I think I'll try to do, if nothing else, I'll put it on my Instagram channel, so subscribe down there to it. But yeah, I'll try to show you guys what OR is like. It's pretty cool. It's exciting to see all the new gear.
Matt Evans asked if we would show us backpacks you made or making a video about them. We will probably do that at some point.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah. So OR.
What else? Yeah, ORs.
Okay.
Wind River High Route.
Yeah, then the Wind River High Route on April 19th.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah.
We're going to try to do as many trips as we can between now and then and after that. So hopefully some more, but nothing planned yet.
Yeah. We will probably do some random, lightly planned, we'll call it, trips throughout in between now and then. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I guess
that's
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have questions, leave them in the comments once this video's up, and we'll get to them next time, hopefully, some of them. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Yeah. More to come.
Hopefully they get better and less sweaty. I don't know.
It's really hot in here.
Yeah. We'll try to figure that out.
Yeah. And tell us what you want to see. We'll try to sculpt this more to you.
Yeah. And if you want to see more sweat, let us know.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can make it hotter in here.
Oh. And like we said earlier, send us your pictures of DIY projects you're doing or quick little clips of fun adventures you're on or anything you want to share with the world. And we'll do a segment at the end featuring those.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Now there's that awkward moment while I try to pause the video.
Just pick our noses.